No crew, no sailors, no casualties. America has deployed drone speedboats into the waters near Iran. Autonomous, armed, and capable of kamikaze strikes. 450 hours of patrols, 2,000 nautical miles. And Iran doesn't know which ones are watching and which ones are about to detonate. The American Navy just got a lot harder to sink. A new dimension of naval warfare is unfolding in the Middle East as the United States confirms, for the first time, the deployment of uncrewed drone speedboats in an active conflict against Iran. The Pentagon has acknowledged that these unmanned surface vessels, or USVs, are now part of operations under what Washington calls Operation Epic Fury. The move signals a shift not just in tactics, but in the very nature of maritime combat, where machines increasingly replace human crews on the front line. At the center of this deployment is a system known as the Global Autonomous Reconnaissance Craft, or GARK. Built by Maryland-based defense firm Black Sea, the vessel is a compact, high-speed platform designed for both surveillance and potential strike missions.
US forces continue to employ unmanned systems in the Middle East region, including surface drone assets like the GARK.
According to the Pentagon, these drone boats have already logged over 450 operational hours and traveled more than 2,200 nautical miles during maritime patrols. Their role, officials say, is to enhance situational awareness across some of the world's most volatile waterways, including the Persian Gulf and surrounding regions.
This platform in particular has successfully logged over 450 underway hours and more 2,200 nautical miles during maritime patrols in support of Operation Epic Fury.
Unlike traditional naval vessels, these drone speedboats operate without a crew on board. They can function as mobile surveillance units, collecting intelligence in real time, or be configured for offensive roles, including kamikaze-style attacks using onboard explosives. The concept is not entirely new. In the Ukraine conflict, uncrewed surface vessels gained prominence after being used to damage Russia's Black Sea fleet. That success has accelerated global interest in autonomous naval systems, with the US now bringing the technology into an active theatre of conflict. However, the path to deployment has not been smooth. The US Navy's long-running effort to build a fleet of autonomous vessels has faced repeated technical setbacks, including performance issues and testing failures. In one instance, a GARK vessel reportedly collided with another boat during trials. In another, a unit became inoperable during testing in the Middle East. Despite these challenges, the strategic logic remains compelling. Drone vessels are significantly cheaper than traditional warships and eliminate the risk of casualties. In a region where escalation risks are high, that trade-off is increasingly attractive. Looking ahead, military planners are focusing on the concept of swarming, deploying multiple unmanned vessels that can coordinate attacks or surveillance in real time. This approach could overwhelm traditional naval defenses and redefine how maritime power is projected. For now, the deployment of GARK vessels marks a clear turning point. The waters of the Middle East are no longer just a stage for conventional fleets. They are becoming a testing ground for the future of naval warfare. And in that future, the most decisive battles may be fought not by sailors, but by machines. A shadow war is now playing out in one of the world's most critical maritime choke points, as the Strait of Hormuz becomes increasingly dangerous and unpredictable. Shipping analysts report that Iran has effectively tightened control over the narrow waterway through which nearly 20% of global oil supply passes. Since the escalation of US-Israeli strikes on Tehran, hundreds of vessels have reportedly been stranded outside the 24-mile stretch, carrying vital cargo including oil, gas, fertilizer, and food. Yet, despite the risks, a limited number of ships continue to pass through. According to Lloyd's List, at least 16 vessels successfully crossed the strait over the weekend, including tankers linked to Iran, China, Russia, India, and Pakistan. These movements appear to follow a controlled route, with vessels reportedly stopping at a designated checkpoint for inspection and clearance. What is raising greater concern, however, is the emergence of so-called zombie tankers. These vessels operate under false identities, adopting the names and registration details of scrapped ships to bypass tracking systems and sanctions enforcement. One such tanker reportedly posed as a Japanese LNG vessel that had already been dismantled in India. Another assumed the identity of ships scrapped years ago in Bangladesh. By broadcasting fake International Maritime Organization numbers, names, and flags, these vessels are able to evade automated monitoring systems and slip through regulatory gaps. Maritime analysts say this tactic works because verification systems rely heavily on digital records rather than real-time physical identification.
Those vessels then move the cargo onward wherever the final destination is, without ever having to transit Hormuz themselves. The zombie vessel is the bridge across the Strait of Hormuz checkpoint.
At the same time, the security environment in the region is deteriorating. Intelligence sources indicate that Iranian-made naval mines, including Marham 3 and Marham 7 limpet mines, have been deployed in parts of the strait, significantly increasing the risk to maritime traffic. Iran has denied imposing a formal blockade. Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi argued that disruptions are being driven by fear among insurers rather than direct Iranian action.
When America's own fleet does not dare to enter the strait, how does it expect the fleets of other countries, the naval forces of other countries, to approach? And we warned all countries that if their armed forces enter this area, they will increase the tension. They will expose the region to more complex problems. Solving the problem of the Strait of Hormuz will also become more complicated. Let me state right here that, in our view, the Strait of Hormuz is not completely closed. It is closed naturally only to our enemies. We are in a state of war.
Meanwhile, tensions remain high at the political level. Donald Trump is reportedly pushing for a rapid conclusion to the conflict, with a timeline linked to upcoming diplomatic engagements, including talks with China. As oil prices surge past $100 a barrel and maritime risks continue to rise, the Strait of Hormuz is once again at the center of global economic and geopolitical uncertainty. And with mines in the water, disguised ships at sea, and competing powers asserting control, the line between commerce and conflict is becoming increasingly blurred.